Welcome to Cars for Geeks. I'm Alex Aguilar, and today I'm gonna give you a little guide on how to objectively make your Hot Wheels collection more profitable than ever before. And to do that, I'm gonna have to go a little back to some Hot Wheels history. Hot Wheels was established in 1968 as a way for Mattel to enter the growing toy car model industry. When they did it, they focused entirely on making faster cars and brighter colors to appeal to younger audiences. This worked, and 52 years later, here we are, with an established brand that sells billions of cars every year, every day, and that is today one of the most successful toy companies ever. And to do a little guidelines, I'm going to establish a couple of things. First, I'm going to establish three basic categories of Hot Wheels, and the basic mainline, semi-premium, which I dubbed a little more expensive basic cars, and the premium line. And first, let's go with the basics, the basic mainline. Every year, Hot Wheels launches a mainline. It is composed of about 250 castings, which a casting is a unique model of a car. And after that, they make a variant on color, and that they sell it as another car in the collection. Meaning that even though 2020 has 250 castings of cars, they have 373 different cars, because half of those 250 are basically a copy and a variant of another one previously used. That said, of those 250 castings, I'm going to divide them in three groups. There's the licensed vehicles, the licensed bought by another property, and the original Hot Wheels design cars. The licensed cars are, of course, cars licensed by their own companies: Ford, GM, Chrysler, Volkswagen. All of them give their license to Mattel and Hot Wheels to make authorized models of their cars. And among those companies, among those models, there are some which are more sought after than others. For instance, here in Mexico, Volkswagen is a lot more sought after than Ford models, meaning that roughly a Volkswagen Beetle is probably twice its price after it's sold than probably a Ford Mustang GT. But that I'm getting ahead of myself. Then there is, of course, the supercars and exotic cars, and that depends again on how much rare is the vehicle in case. For instance, Lamborghini has used repeatedly the Huracan on the last couple of years, and it's a very repeated vehicle on every main line of cars. Meaning that although the Huracan is very sought after because many guys love Lamborghini, it is not as expensive as probably the Sesto Elemento, which is a much more rare car, or the Veneno, which is another Lamborghini model that has been featured only a couple of times. Then there is, of course, the new cars, like the Koenigsegg Jesko and the McLaren Speedtail, which just debuted this year. And those are all really sought after as well. And then there is, of course, Bugatti, the infamous of the bunch. And Bugatti is infamous because of one reason and one reason only: the Veyron. When the Veyron was released, it was a very sought after car, and later on the years it became very, very popular and very expensive. Meaning nowadays that probably a good, mint condition, unopened, sealed Bugatti Veyron can be worth as much as $25, which is a lot of money for a Hot Wheels cars. And the Chiron followed the same fate as its predecessor, becoming a very expensive Hot Wheels from the get-go. Now, what does that mean for the rest of the licensed cars? Well, it depends mostly on how popular the brand is and how popular the car is, and also how many cars are there of that brand that year. For instance, Volkswagen has a very low number of cars every year, versus Ford, versus Chevy, who has probably 10 or more cars on each mainline every year. Then there's, of course, the thing with the tall classic like Datsun. Datsun 510 Bluebird was a very popular car when it was first released, and it has become very popular since then, meaning that it can easily shoot up in value depending on how old the car is. But that's just licensed cars. Let's go with the licensed by another property cars. And by that I mean just cars that are from other brands that have license to Hot Wheels. For instance, Batman. Batman is quite possibly one of the most iconic superheroes of all time, and it has the most iconic car of all time, the Batmobile. The Batmobile has a ton of variants over the years, many generations, many versions of the car, since the original Adam West 1966 TV Batmobile, to the Tumbler, to the 2016 Batman vs Superman, to the Justice League Batmobile. All of those cars have been immortalized on Hot Wheels at some point or another, meaning that those cars are really sought after by collectors that either like Hot Wheels, either like Batman, or just like superheroes at all. meaning that Batman is quite possibly the most profitable car license from a Hot Wheels car without really getting into a real car. Examples of other licensed cars that have done really well on the used market are the Mystery Machine and the Simpsons Family car, which are really sought after cars because they are not as common as the Batmobile, for instance. And there are also the ones that are completely worthless, like the Rocket League car, which is not popular and not really particularly good looking, so it just kind of sits in there. And then there is, of course, the original Hot Wheels design cars, which are, in my opinion, one of the most divisive cars on the entire main line. And it is because although there are some very iconic Hot Wheels cars like the Twin Mill, the Diora, the Bone Shaker, the Rip Rod, which have become famous for representing the brand, there are others which are not as valuable, which are not as well regarded because they're just cars designed to appeal to younger kids. Cars shaped like dinosaurs, cars shaped like animals, cars that glow in the dark, cars that are transparent, that have really no other cool feature on their design other than one gimmick. Which of course means that only a handful of original Hot Wheels designs can shoot up in value if they're a super treasure hunt or if they're a variant of a famous car. That's pretty much the basic mainline of Hot Wheels, meaning that licensed cars are more likely to shoot up in value depending on how much rare is a car versus licensed cars of another property and versus Hot Wheels original cars. But depending on if a property, for instance, The Simpsons, is as popular as it is, it can shoot up the car in value, especially if it's not repeated in the years to come or it's been a while since it's been re-released. That was me, I'm Alex Aguilar, this is Cars for Geeks, and I hope to see you soon. I hope you found this video really fun, and if you don't, I hope at least it informed you a little bit on why petrolheads go crazy when they see a little toy car on the shelf of the supermarket. So thank you.